Hey guys, what's up? Flex Tango here to talk about Activision and the lawsuit. This is an update to my previous videos. I was informed that some of you may have wanted me to go more in depth and show more like my investigative side, like I do with my Omen Delirious and Vanoss Crew drama videos. The reason I didn't is because the investigative stuff had already been done as far as the Activision lawsuit went. And with Omen Delirious, it's literally just a bunch of people talking back and forth, and we haven't had any official law enforcement investigation file any type of report, let alone make it public. So that's why I have to go into an investigative type of mode with that type of stuff. But for Activision, there's already been a 2.5-year long investigation, and in some of the statements meant to cover Activision's ass, people are saying, no, these were instances that happened in the past decade. They aren't that recent. We're better than that. Everything you're hearing has been construed or twisted. It's untrue. To now kind of saying, oh, well, they happened, but you know, it was just a long time ago. But shortly after I posted my last video on the subject, there were a couple ex-employees speaking out, including this woman right here telling other women who work at Activision to be brave and leave like she did, basically telling them it's okay, everything will be all right. But her and others are apparently standing with these accusations against Activision regardless of what official representatives of Activision are trying to convince the public. See, there were a few emails sent out, specifically one by Bobby Kotick saying that he takes these accusations very seriously, as anyone else should, and none of this should be happening in our company. But then there was an email sent out by Fran Townsend. She joined Activision back in March, but between 2004 and 2007, she worked Homeland Security under George Bush. Yeah, I'm totally sure she's an honest individual. But anyways, in her email, she touts her qualifications to speak on behalf of other women or victims by boasting that she is the executive sponsor of the ABK Employees Women's Network and their chief compliance officer. She continued saying, quote, "I know that things have been difficult lately for a lot of us," end quote. She's not referring to the victims here. She's referring to the difficult times people like her at the top are experiencing, having to listen to the complaints of these victims. Ah, Jesus Christ. If only these guys would shut the f*** up, am I right? Bunch of poor, lousy bastards. She claimed the lawsuit presented a distorted and untrue picture of the company, including factually incorrect, out of context, or just plain old stories. She wasn't going to risk it for the biscuit and go as far as to say these claims were completely 100% false. She was just insinuating if anything horrible was true, it's old news. She goes on to say that she's proud to be a part of a company that takes such a strong stand against sexual harassment in the workplace. Quote, "Our Speak Up campaign reinforces our zero tolerance for retaliation against people who do speak up," she said, right after retaliating against all the people who spoke up by calling them a bunch of liars. And if you're thinking, well, maybe these claims aren't reflective of Activision, maybe the things reported aren't actually commonplace at Activision or true like the statements in the investigation suggest. Well, a couple of days ago, over 1,000 employees at Activision signed a petition of their condemnation of leadership's behavior and statements made by Activision spokespersons and their claims that these reports of misconduct are false. The petition made specific note against the statements made by Fran Townsend, calling said statements abhorrent and insulting. They went on to say in response to Fran Townsend's comments, "To put it clearly and unequivocally, our values as employees are not accurately reflected in the words and actions of the leadership." Bitch. No, they didn't say that. They just wanted to. The petition has since gained over 2,000 signatures, which also includes a few hundred former employees, many of whom have further corroborated the claims through either their own experiences or experiences they observed happening to others. And they held a walkout to protest the misconduct in the workplace. And it's seeming more and more probable that this will lead to unionization. And they've already written their demands. There's 4. They're quite long. But here's the full statement. As current Activision and Blizzard employees, we are holding a walkout to call on the executive leadership team to work with us on the following demands in order to improve conditions for employees at the company, especially women, and in particular women of color and transgender women, non-binary women, and other marginalized groups. Number 1, an end to mandatory arbitration clauses in all employees' contracts, current and future. Arbitration clauses protect abusers and limit the ability of victims to seek restitution. Number 2, the adoption of recruiting, interviewing, hiring, and promoting policies designed to improve representation among employees at all levels, agreed upon by employees in a company-wide diversity, equity, and inclusion organization. Current practices have led to women, in particular women of color and transgender women, non-binary women, and other marginalized groups that are vulnerable to gender discrimination not being hired fairly for new roles when compared to men. Number 3, publication of data on relative compensation, including equity grants and profit sharing, promotion rates, and salary range for employees of all genders and ethnicities at the company. Current practices have led to aforementioned groups not being paid or promoted fairly. Number 4, empower a company-wide diversity, equity, and inclusion task force to hire a third party to audit ABK's reporting structure, HR department, and executive staff. It is imperative to identify how current systems have failed to prevent employee harassment and to propose new solutions to address these issues. It sure is a mouthful, but when you have over 2,000 employees and ex-employees from your company coming out and saying, yes, the findings in this investigation are true, yes, that type of behavior is rampant amongst the leadership at Activision, they treat the rest of the workers this way as they feel there's going to be no repercussions. When you have 2,000 plus people who are currently working there and some who had previously worked there coming out and confirming that, there isn't enough lying PR and Fran Townsend's armament to try to cover that up or convince anybody that these claims from the investigation are pure nonsense or untrue, as she previously claimed. And I do think they have every right to present demands to their employers at this point, because when enough of your employees stand up against you, at that point, the power's in their hands, not yours. I definitely think it's time to listen up, for your company's sake. Anyways, that's all I've got. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. Keep the conversation going. And I'll catch you guys next time.